Good afternoon, guys. It is May 17th, 2022. Well, I want to talk about a few things on this video, and I want to talk about just keeping it simple in terms of appliances, vacuum cleaners, the whole 9 yards. As you know, we have become a society just full of technology, full of just lots of things, lots of bells and whistles, lots of gadgets, lots of stuff. And it's honestly becoming a bit much for me. I will be honest, I am not tech savvy really at all. Uploading videos to YouTube is probably the biggest success that I had ever figured out, because I'm just not that tech savvy. I mean, I don't use fancy cameras, I don't use high-tech stuff, I don't use high-tech equipment. I just use my iPhone 7, record on that, and then upload from the files on my phone, and that's how I do it. So there's all this technology and this stuff nowadays that just gets overwhelming and gets to be a bit much. And I'm going to tell you something. Technology has its good things and its bad things, and I'm going to be honest with you. High technology in machines that are supposed to do a simple task honestly doesn't really improve things all that much. It just makes it worse. It makes it more complicated, more likely to have issues, more likely to be problematic. Not always, not everything. I mean, sometimes improvements do make a big difference and actually make it better. But on the other side, there's also the technological advances that make it worse, make it more prone to break prematurely. Excuse me. So, yes, there's things that can happen with high-tech things. There's more glitches to mess up. I mean, you talk about like just a simple power surge could take out a refrigerator or something. I mean, I've heard that can actually happen. And everything seems to be so digitalized and so fragile, and I think part of it is just cheaper labor and cheaper parts and stuff, but honestly, that's costing us in terms of reliability and things like that. Now, my strongest area in terms of appliances is vacuum cleaners. And to me, vacuum cleaners, there's really not that much of a need to make them so complicated. I mean, really. Um, you know, and some people say, oh, well, the Kirby is just very complicated. Honestly, the Kirby is not as complicated as something like a Miele or a Dyson or something like that. Um, does it have a few extra things? Yeah, it does. I mean, it's got the safety switches in the side, it's got the transmission, it's got, you know, all of that, but it's really a pretty simple design that's very, 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 very reliable. Um, and I'm going to touch on the Miele's and all that too. Now, don't get me wrong, those are very reliable for what they are. I have very rarely seen or heard of major issues with Miele's and Sebo's and, a little bit fancier, electronic based machines. So I'm not completely against, technology like that. But if it's going to cost you in reliability and it's just going to be more finicky, it is not worth it. Um, you know, I I think people just look for like fancy features and stuff. Everything has to be all high tech. Everything has to be. I mean, what's wrong with a simple, on off switch or a simple, you know, motor or something? And I understand that there are benefits to, um, you know, variable speed and many features and stuff. And trust me, I'm not against Miele. I'm not against higher end machines like that. But when it comes to repairs, this is where I'm thinking, because I like to repair my own stuff. I just do. Whether it's vacuum cleaners, refrigerators, washers and dryers, dishwashers, whatever it is. I don't care what it is. I want to be able to fix it myself. I want to be able to figure it out. And they're making things so complicated to the point where it's not even that simple to just replace a switch or something like that. There's like all these crazy boards and all these crazy electronic things that can go wrong and all these weird things. And they're so fragile. They have all these flipping wires going everywhere. I mean, it's just crazy. I've heard this saying, and I'm not trying to be mean to anybody when I say this, but I've heard this saying and I agree with it 100%. Keep it simple, stupid. KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Or keep it super simple, if you want to put it nicer. But it's so true. Just keep it simple. It seems like nowadays everything has to be so flippin' complicated. And it's just not worth it. What's wrong with things being so simple to where, all you had to do, was look at this and that, and then you can just figure it out. You know, why does there have to be circuit boards and everything? You know? And I just look at that and I think to myself, you know, and especially the older I get, the more I appreciate simplicity and the simple things, because I don't like things to be complicated. I don't like things to be more difficult than they need to be. I mean, I just don't see the point. I mean, my parents back in 2005 bought a brand new washer and dryer. Now that washer and dryer was a basic top-load GE washer and dryer. Is it so-called efficient on water and everything? No. I mean, it fills the drum up completely full and drains it. And some people are gonna argue, like, oh, well, it's just wasting water, you're just spending more money. Well, I don't give a rip about that. I mean, I really do not. Because at the end of the day, if being efficient in stuff and using so little of stuff compromises the lifespan and the reliability of the machine, it's not worth it, because you're going to be spending that kind of money anyway on getting it repaired or replaced, probably even more money than you would on your utility bills. I mean, it just makes absolutely no sense to me. You know, just keep it simple. Don't overly complicate things. Don't make things so fancy and high tech and try to squeeze every. Because, I mean, there's only so far you can go. I mean, really. You know, it's the same thing with just about everything else. You know, they're making things too complicated to where, first of all, they're making them with cheaper parts. Second of all, they're making them too complicated. And third, they're making them with, like, for example, like dishwashers and washing machines and stuff like that. They're making them with, like, water openings that are so tiny and have super fine screens that get clogged and blocked up. And it's really hard to get them cleaned out and stuff. And then you have this whole ordeal and this whole mess of stuff. And I mean, people, be a little bit more generous with the water. I mean, seriously. It's, and like I said, I'm not against efficiency. I'm not against reducing how much you use. I'm not against that at all. But when it comes to compromising the performance and compromising the reliability and the lifespan of things, that's where I have a major problem. Big time. I mean, I'm not putting up with it. Period. I'm just not. You know, and like I said, you can argue with me all you want. And this is just my opinion. If your appliance is still working, keep it. If it's still working perfectly, keep it. You know, who cares if your refrigerator is 30 years old? The refrigerator in my kitchen right now is 30 years old, well, just about 30 years old. and it's still going strong. It's like 25 to 27 years old, something like that. You know, is it perfect? No. I mean, there's some things that are broken in the refrigerator, some of the shelves and the drawers and some of the racks. Just a few things, but it's not like, you know, falling apart necessarily. I mean, I've seen way worse than what we have now in our kitchen. You know, is it the most energy efficient? Maybe not. You know, it's probably not as efficient as, you know, something that you would get right now in 2022. But you gotta realize that they don't make them like they used to. So you're basically just wasting a lot of money, because then you have to replace that appliance more and more and more and more and more often, rather than just having that one appliance that's been working for a long time, just keeping it working. I mean, it is so worth the extra money in utilities to me versus splurging every, you know, 3 to 5 years on a new machine. I mean, because you have to admit, like, some of these refrigerators are costing like nearly $1,000 or more. I've seen some of them that are $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. That is outrageous. You know, one thing that we did, I forget. I think we paid like $150 for our refrigerator that we have now, used off of Craigslist 7 years ago, back in 2015. It's a 1995 refrigerator. Now, yes, that is old. That's older than my house. But it's still running perfectly. I mean, I don't think we've ever had even the slightest issue, other than just a little bit of a freezing problem with, you know, lettuce or things that, you know, get too close to, you know, the bottom left side of the refrigerator. It's a side by side. But other than that, it's been working perfectly fine. You know? And, you know, is it pretty and shiny? Not necessarily. But is it all banged up and scratched and rusted and stuff? No. You know? I just keep the coils clean. I just keep everything cleaned up. And I keep it going, because I'm telling you, I do not trust new appliances now. I just don't. I don't trust it. And especially after hearing what people have gone through who pay $500 for a brand new refrigerator that's way smaller, way lower end, has less features, and it literally burns out after 2 years. I know somebody personally who actually went through that. Yeah, not good. Not pretty. Not having it. I'm just not. Not putting up with it. Nope. Will not. I mean, you can say, well, that's just the way it is nowadays. I know, but you can't tell me that we can't make appliances to last at least 15 to 20 years. I mean, give me a break. They used to last that long. I'm not saying that, I expect the full, 40 to 50 years out of an appliance and stuff. Yeah, that'd be nice. But you at least need 10, 15, 20 years of good life out of your appliance. Trouble free. I mean, I demand that. From the time it's new, I demand at least a good solid 10, 15, 20 years of good life. Because that is ridiculous. Going through a refrigerator every 2.5 years to 3 years. And if you think that's an acceptable lifespan, then I'm sorry. You either haven't been paying attention to the lifespans, or maybe you're just so young and you're just so used to that being, that's just what you get out of appliances now. And I'm not judging anybody, but I'm just saying, that is not okay. I mean, it is just not okay. I mean, anything less than 10 years is absolutely absurd to me. Anything less than 10 years out of any major appliance is absurd. Out of any appliance, period, but especially an expensive appliance. Anything less than 10 years is just crap. I'm sorry. From the time it was new, anything less than 10 years is just absolute crap. I mean, I'm not talking about buying used appliances. I mean, I'm not gonna expect, a 20-year-old refrigerator that you bought used to last you another 10 years. I'm not saying that. But I'm talking about brand new appliances that you pay full price from Home Depot, Lowe's, Best Buy, wherever. You should not be having to put up with stuff like that. And let me tell you, these warranties are stupid. They come with a 1-year warranty. I say you should at least have a 5 to 10-year warranty on parts, at least. Because, it's just, I'm just gonna say it. I'm not happy with the reliability that people are getting and lifespans that people are getting out of machines. Just keep it simple. I tell you, I've just had it with, the appliance industry, the machinery and all that. I mean, my parents had stuff for a long, long, long time growing up. I mean, I don't ever recall us having appliances go out very often. Earlier in my life, my parents did have a refrigerator go out, but it was very, very old. So, I mean, yeah, it's probably gonna go out. I think they had a dishwasher go out too. The same thing, it was really, really old. But other than that, I don't think we've had a single appliance that actually just burn out on us like that. Since that time. have we replaced some things? Actually, I take that back. We did have a microwave go out just about a year ago after, 2 years ago, after 5 years. We had microwaves last us way longer than that. Way longer than that. 5 years? Seriously? I'm telling you, I'm not having it. I'm just not having it. I mean, and you can call me like, oh, you're just, complaining and entitled and whatever else you want to call me, but at the end of the day, I know what reliability is, and I know the life that you can get out of these things and just how simple it can be. The point is, things are becoming too complicated. They're putting in way too many things to fail and go wrong, and they're not designing these things to be repaired and last a considerable amount of time. Because I'm telling you, 2 or 3 years, that's still a brand new appliance. It should not be giving you major problems. Period. There is absolutely no reason for it. None whatsoever. And I understand that there are manufacturing defects. I understand that there are problems. But this is becoming way, 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 way too common. And this isn't just like a little defect here and there. This is design flaw and planned obsolescence is what it is. It just is. And, these new designs that they're pushing nowadays, I mean, some of them are decent, and some of them are just pieces of crap. I'm telling you. I mean, some of them are good, but most of them they're just putting in the cheapest parts possible, and people are having all kinds of problems with it. And we need to like improve the design, and we need to make simple options available to people. Don't just phase out old technology because it's not a design now, not a thing now. Make options available for consumers to be able to get some simple options if they want it. Because, believe it or not everybody wants the latest and greatest and most fancy. That's me, for sure. Not everything has to be high tech, not everything has to be fancy. At the end of the day, I just want to keep it simple. I want something to be reliable. I want something that I can trust, something that is easy to use, easy to repair, easy to get parts for, cost effective to repair. That's all I want. Is that too much to ask? I mean, I want to know that. What is so hard about making things so simple and so easy to repair? I mean, it's not hard. It really isn't. So, newer doesn't always mean better. New technology doesn't always mean that it's going to be better. It just doesn't. You know, you just gotta keep it simple, because the whole thing is, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Period. I mean, everybody's trying to reinvent the wheel here. And reinventing the wheel and making something brand new and stuff, it might be good, but at the same time, it's not always. And a lot of times, the more complicated you make things, the more problems are likely, and the more expensive it is going to be to repair. And, like I said, planned obsolescence. I think they're doing this stuff to appeal to the masses, where most consumers just look with their eyes and look at what's flashy and what's popular, and the average consumer doesn't think about repairs. The average consumer doesn't think about parts. The average consumer doesn't think about long-term reliability. And I believe this is just planned obsolescence, because they know it's going to break, they know it's going to fail, and they know that, once it does break, they don't want to cover it and repair something or take responsibility for it. And it's just wrong. It's just wrong on every level. So that's why I look at commercial and industrial machines, because in a lot of cases, they design them to be more serviceable because they're in a more demanding environment and stuff. So why can't the consumer get that on the consumer level too? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, everything has to be so flippin' complicated. Everything has to be all flashy. Everything has to be just crazy. At the end of the day, as long as it gets the job done, that's all I care about. As long as it's reliable, that's all I care about. As long as it lasts me a good 10, 15, 20 years, that's all I care about. Guys, we need to just go back to the simple way of making things. Keeping it simple. Because simplicity always outlives flashy. It just does. It may be boring, it may be, not the fanciest thing you've ever seen, but if it's designed to last, a good 20 years, it's going to be serving you for a long time, and you're not going to have to worry about problems, most likely, for a while. If it's built right, if it's reliable, if it's simple. Because let me tell you, we have a dishwasher that's 20 years old in our kitchen. Never, ever had even the slightest issue with that dishwasher in 7 years since we moved into this house. Not even the slightest issue. Dishes come out sparkly clean. It doesn't make any weird noises. It doesn't do anything weird. It runs absolutely perfect. So, why redesign it? Why change it? Why make it more complicated? It doesn't make any sense. It gets the job done. It's perfect. It does what it needs it to do, what we need it to do. Just keep it simple at the end of the day. That's the message of this video. Keep it simple. Alrighty, guys. Well, that about does it for this one. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos.